It's the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, the third edition.
Említettem már, hogy a pszichiátria nagyon sikeresen használta a DSM-et, hogy beszivárogjon a bíróságokra.
A bíróságokra is?
Aha.
The clinical diagnosis of a DSM-4 mental disorder is not sufficient to establish the existence for legal purposes of a mental disorder. That's a very interesting point. Basically, what the authors are saying here is that the material in the DSM has no utility in the courtroom in deciding guilt or innocence. It should not be used in courtrooms as part of the legal process.
Várjunk csak! Éppen most hallottuk, hogy az áll a DSM-ben, hogy nem lehet felhasználni bíróságon mentális zavar megállapítására.
Pontosan. Mégis folyamatosan használják.
Ja, amikor őrültségre hivatkoznak.
És a gyermekelhelyezési és a polgári perek?
Olvastam pszichiáter tanúkról, akik mind a vád, mind a védelem oldalán a DSM-et használták, de a bíróság elfogadta őket szakértő tanúknak.
As far as I could see, for psychosis or delusions. Because he's suffering from narcissistic personality disorder and a delusional disorder, grandiose.
Teljes ellentmondás. De ez nem mindig volt így.
In the beginning of the 20th century, a psychiatrist in a courtroom would be laughed out of the courtroom by and large. Today it's commonly accepted testimony as long as it's in accord with the DSM.
The danger in using the DSM in a court setting is that you're using a vocabulary that the judge or the jury doesn't fully understand. They are, by concocting these psychobabble words, it makes it seem like there's something there that may not be there.
The courts have allowed all this junk science to come into the courts, and they've made case law on it. And once the case law is made, we're stuck with it until it gets overridden.
They come in with tests, they come in with their diagnostic categories from the DSM, and they say, we've done tests, we've determined that this person has this numbered malady, and therefore they do. And there's almost no way to pry a judge out of accepting that.
When a psychiatrist makes a diagnosis in court, is that the person is sent to a mental institution, deprived of liberty, and we have no idea whether he's guilty or not.
A DSM diagnózisai alapján minden 40 másodpercben valakit akarata ellenére beutalnak egy pszichiátriai intézetbe.
Ez teljesen igazságtalan.
Bárki, bármikor mindent elveszíthet egy pszichiáter véleménye miatt. Ezt hallgasd.
I went to a stop smoking course at Vanderbilt. And the doctor, the lady that ran the program said that she goes, you need to be, we need to get you on a stop smoking medication. So she prescribed me Zyban. Well, after the fact, I find out that Zyban is nothing but this really powerful antidepressant called Wellbutrin. Yeah, I stopped smoking, but I had no idea the hell. I mean, the hell. The hell's gates were being opened when I started taking Zyban. I had been clean and sober for 18 years. You know, just never considered that. But something about that, I started experiencing the craving to drink again, and my life fell apart. Divorce, relapse. So then a sibling of mine, I got wind of my relapse, wanted to gain control of my pocketbook and my life, and found the dirtiest lawyer in town who knew, you know, one of the dirty psychiatrists, and bought and paid for an evaluation, had a hearing in a court before I was ever served notice. And the next thing I know, every right that a human being can possibly have was taken from me. And you have less rights as a conserved person than you do as a criminal. I mean, you are stripped of every right. You can't enter into a contract. You cannot marry. You cannot sue. You cannot even fight the legal system that has involuntarily put you in this. And it was all based on the psychiatrist's diagnosis, who never evaluated me.
Hihetetlen! Csak le akart szokni a dohányzásról, de ehelyett pszichiátriai diagnózist kapott és elvették tőle a jogait.
Az összes pénzét is elvesztette. Ráadásul még el is zárták egy pszichiátriai intézetbe. De ha szerinted rossz, amit a pszichiáterek az egyénekkel tesznek, figyelj csak, mi történik a családokkal.
Children are taken away from parents every day in these juvenile courts because a person with a PhD or an MD after their name comes in and says, I've shown ink blots to a person, and they may be a risk to a child. Just in my little state of Massachusetts here, there are 11,000 children in captivity taken away from families at any one moment. And almost all of those children are being drugged. And our own commissioner of children and families testified under oath that they drug 88% of the children that they take out of the families.
88%-ukat gyógyszerezik? Ez majdnem mindenki.
És ez csak a jéghegy csúcsa. A pszichiáterek világszerte a bíróságokon megfosztják az embereket a jogaiktól, és szétrombolják a családokat. Figyeld!
Psychiatry has affected my family through the family law court rulings. The family law court has a court-appointed child psychiatrist who, it appears, determines the future of the child.
It's just like a business in the court system that they forced you to undergo all of these psychological evaluations, and you have to pay thousands of dollars, but at the end of the day, it has been supported by no evidence, nothing.
They'd said to me, Deb, you have a choice. Either you bring your son to get medicated, or we'll take your child away from you and put him in a home that they'll medicate your child. And then good luck. Basically, they were saying, good luck, Deb, to try and get your son back, but you'll get him back medicated anyways.
And they put her in hospital, and that's when the psychotropic drugging started with Becky. And at that stage, I had no say over it.
They refused to let her go. They would not let my daughter go unless she take medication.
This was again a recommendation from the psychiatrist that once my son was radically ripped from his home and literally kidnapped and put in a new home with a perpetrator of domestic violence and of sexual assault, and is where he now lives, this psychiatrist said that he was never to have any counselling and never to see anybody.
To have your family just disrupted like that, ripped out from under you, really, your whole life, just gone like that, and then you have to fight every day to get him back. It was very devastating.
In some ways, it's worse than a death because it's unresolved, and you know what the truth is. And you feel like giving up and not fighting back for that custody of that child, but you can't. Yeah, there's just no justice.
Ez rettenetes. Széttépik a családokat a bíróságokon elharapódzott önkényes diagnózisokkal.
Pontosan.
So it's unfortunate that the courts have bought into the DSM. It's unfortunate that the whole psychiatric profession is wedded to the DSM. It's unfortunate that the psychiatric profession is in bed with the drug industry, and it's unfortunate that drugs that don't work are the common prescribed drugs for all manner of conditions in children and in adults. It's the wrong way to go.